Hello, and I hope you're having a good day. My name is Paul Bunyan, and today I'll be talking all about the weapons, armor, and combat of Dungeons & Dragons. Why am I doing a video on a whole 4 pages of D&D? Well, it's because in my hard-earned experience as a Dungeon Master, players would rather have you explain the rules to them than read the book themselves. And I will not be talking about magic, that is a whole other world. First thing you need to know about combat in D&D is that it is turn-based. When a fight breaks out, everyone has to roll initiative, which I always thought was just how well you were paying attention. If it's big, that means you were paying lots of attention and you get to hit first. If it's low, that means you weren't paying attention and you get jumped. Now it's your turn. Congrats! You get an action which lets you attack, dodge, grapple, disengage, or help a friend. A bonus action, you can do lots of cool class-related stuff. A free action, which is kind of meaningless, like dropping your weapon, which I don't know why you would do that except... well, I guess the enemy would never expect it. Or a reaction, which is something done in response to the action of another. Combat may seem simple, and that's because it kind of is. You pick up a sword, and you hit the thing till it dies and bursts into experience points and gold. To see if you hit something, you gotta roll a d20, add your proficiency and strength bonus, and see if your number is bigger than the armor class of the enemy. If it is, great, you hit it. Now roll for damage. Each weapon has a set kind of damage dice. Roll it, add your strength bonus, and see how much the enemy bleeds. But hold on there, bucko. You gotta move before you can hit people. Your guy is on the map, and the enemy guys are on the map. The map is a bunch of squares. Each square is 5 feet. You move from one square to another, boom, you just move 5 feet. Understand? Good. Positioning is important, especially in a ranged v ranged combat situation. If that skeleton you're fighting is the one with a long bow, or an M16, maybe hide behind a rock, or a door, or the barbarian before you get rattled. If you've got your own M16 and you want to return fire, get on your belly and go prone. Prone targets are harder to shoot. If that skeleton has a sword and not an M16, then you get back up on your feet. Being prone protects you from incoming fire, but it does make it a lot easier to stab you. If you get into stabbing range, maybe grapple the opponent instead. The last thing that kobold is expecting is for you to get him in a headlock while your buddies stab him constantly at advantage. Or you could flank the enemy from the side or hit them from attack from behind, which gives you advantage. I'm just saying, you don't have to stand there and take turns hitting each other until one of you falls over. Now let's talk about weapons. Most melee weapons force you to get up close and personal with the enemy. This means 5 feet, or the square right next to them on the map. Unless you're using a ranged weapon like a bow or a throwing knife or those M16s, then that weapon will tell you how many squares away you can hit something. But which is better, melee or ranged? Well, that depends. Is your enemy far? Is it close? Can you get to it easily? Can you cast Fireball and all this becomes null and void? Each weapon does the same thing, dealing damage until death, but they have different flavor text that reads like terms of service, and just like a real TOS, nobody likes to read them. That's why I'm here. I read them for you. And here's what I found. Ammunition. Your bows, crossbows, and M16s need ammo. Who knew? I often find this to be tedious, and I only keep track of the magical arrows because keeping track of all the normal arrows and bullets is going to be a pain in the basilisk. Finesse. Weapons that can use dex instead of strength. For those that took track and field instead of pumping that cold iron. Heavy. Weapons that are too big for the small to use, like the goblins or the kobolds. This is why you should always drink your milk. Light. Little tiny baby weapons like daggers. Weapons that you can dual wield, which is actually pretty cool and a lot of fun. Loading. Some weapons need to be loaded, and it gives you only 1 attack per action, so you can't attack a dozen times in a row with them, fighters. Range. The optimum range of the M16 is between 100 and 500 yards. Reach! Are you tired of getting up close and personal with the enemy? Well, with the handy-dandy poleaxe, you can stab people from up to 10 feet away. Special. Any weapon that does something besides turn a goblin's insides into outsides. Like a net, which can also entangle the goblin while you turn its insides into outsides. Throw. The only thing cooler than a knife is a throwing knife. Two-handed. This great sword is too big. Oh, I'm gonna need to use both hands to swing this thing around. Versatile. Weapons that can be held with 1 or 2 hands. Two-handing it will deal more damage. Improvised weaponry. Any weapon that is not supposed to be a weapon, but you turned it into a weapon. like smashing a bottle of beer over some guy's head at a bar. Silvered weapons. Got a werewolf problem? Not anymore, you don't. Phew, okay, so that's it for weapons. But what about armor? This is much easier. You have light and medium armor, which is easy to take on and off, lets you move quietly, and offers somewhat decent protection. And then you have heavy armor, which gives amazing protection, but it takes forever to put on and forever to take off, and you can't sneak around in it because... And finally, a shield, which is a shield that gives you a +2 to your armor class. Neat. Now, what kind of weapons and armor can you use? That entirely depends on either your race or your class. Usually your class. Some classes can use all weapons and armor, some classes can hardly use any. But you can always train to be proficient in new weapons and armor, assuming you have the downtime and the money needed for those fencing lessons. Finally, it's important to remember that everything I said in this video applies to both you and your enemies. So if you see that skeleton with an M16 go prone, charge it and stab it. Or smash it. You know what I mean. Anyway, that's all you need to know. Now go, my adventurer. Go out there and smite the evil... Oh, wait, no, sorry. The goblin goes first. He had the higher initiative roll. That's my bad. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that fun stuff. Leave a comment down below about your favorite weapon. And share this video with your friends. Also, check out my socials if you want to stay up to date, and maybe support me on Patreon so I can afford that shiny new greatsword. And don't forget to have fun on your next adventure.